You guys don't worry about my timing. My timing is awesome. Well, it is absolutely ooh, I've got the still got the sepia tone there. Let's see if we can fix that a little bit on that end of it. Can I DSLR? We got a filter in there, some kind of crapola. I don't know. Hell if I know. We're just gonna have to go with the sepia tone, something like that. Anyway, like I said, yeah, unscheduled deal here. Decided that I would zoom out to start with. Oop. Let's move that. There we go. Wunderbar. Like I said, can't deal with. I'm sure I can turn the sepia tone off. I must have turned it on. Just how did I do it? Aha! Filters. None. Done. Fixed it right up. I mean, that just completely fixed the whole damn thing, right? Ah, there we go. Oh, freaky. No, how we go right there? There we go. Back to normal. We'll save the sepia tone for our nice reviews. But check it out, I'm still gray and brown. Anyway, well, like I said, it has been it's been kind of a crappy day. It has been raining yet again. I don't even want to think about how much rain we have gotten. It has been nasty and soggy, and the sun came out for the first time this afternoon. And like I said, it's been very difficult to film anything simply because the rain has been so heavy. Even the other day, if you watch the drift video, I'm sure that you heard all the rain, even through that super nice mic that we have. So what a particular mess. But like I said, you know, hey, onward and upward, and here we go. Rock, actually, I think I pronounce it wrong. I think it's sepia. I never heard it pronounced. I always read it because I now always pronounce it sepia. That's incorrect. I think sepia tone is the correct way. I think is the correct way to pronounce that. I'm not actually certain. I think sepia is the right terminology. It looks cool, whatever the hell that it is. All right. Saw Matt's question a little bit earlier. Fantastic. I don't have anything in particular to talk about. Like I said, it's just been a hell of a day, and this is kind of a bit of therapy for me. Plus, I need some more topics for our Around the Shop. So what I do is I sneak in, and I let you guys talk, and I figure out questions for videos. So that is an excellent question. Different types of forge hoods and the way they perform. Well, here's the thing. Forge hoods have been one of those things that's I've seen a lot of people come up with different versions. I think that the two biggest differences you're going to find one, there's going to be a brick chimney, and there's going to be a metal hood. Of course, the metal hood is something that's a lot more recent, and you know, your chimneys are going to be far more traditional. Now, of course, back in the old days, I mean, they were just basically rock and concrete, or even stacked rocks and mud to form a chimney. And I think kind of the two, if you had to pin me down, there's going to be two really major types of hoods out there, and that's going to be the super sucker hood and basically the large hood. Those are going to be your two types. And the super sucker, let's go to the internets. I believe I can find us a picture real quick. So anyway, basically at the end of the day, what you're looking to do is you just need to get smoke out of the room. And there's a couple of neat ways to do it. There's a couple novelty ways to do it. The super sucker hood is basically a small box, and it creates such a draft that it acts as a little vacuum, whereas your larger hoods almost act as a net. Now, they're still pulling stuff up the top, but the super sucker hood is supposed to be engineered to blah, blah, blah without the big hood. Let's see if I can bring up here. Come on. But it's a good question. I've seen a lot of conjecture on it. At the end of the day, you just need the smoke out of the shop. Super sucker. Of course, it's going to take you to a porn site. Super sucker hood. Side draft cold forge hood. There's a good article here on Anvil Fire. Watch this. There we go. And like magic. There we go. All right, so again, this is made out of sheet metal. It's basically just a box at the end of a large pipe. And this has been around, again, Anvil Fire came from back in the 90s. So it works very well. Like I said, it precludes you from having to have a super large hood, which is basically what I'm going to be using in the shop. The super suckers are great as long as you have absolutely no draft in the shop. The other thing is that they, for what they do a great job of it. But you just cannot beat a full hood. But this is an excellent alternative if you don't want to build the full hood or you don't have the room for it. A lot of the brick furnaces or the brick forges that have a chimney operate on this principle. Basically just a small opening that you create a draft and it actually sucks the smoke up. So I think this is actually based on the old brick chimney styles. And you can see here again, this is from the side. Imagine this was all bricked. You just have a cavity and the smoke goes in and up. Now, you don't see a whole lot of those offered for sale, simply because I don't think that they are, and I'm talking out my hind end, I do not think that they are as effective as a full hood, but they are an economical and pretty damn efficient alternative to having to have a full hood on that end of it. So that should be your main difference. It's just a lot cheaper, a lot more space sensitive. I can't see it doing a better job than a full hood, because a full hood catches everything. So, yeah. Excellent question. That would be a great topic. Forge hoods and types. This is why I come do these things in the evenings when I am out of ideas and I have no more brain power. Okay. Christopher Daggs, could you please explain what is good dimensions for a Firepot? So Chris, again, this is going to be something that there's a lot of answers to that one question. But in general, if you're doing basic forge work, basic smith work in the backyard or even in the hobby shop, Firepot usually doesn't need to be any more than a maximum of 2 inches deep. A good way, let's see here. I think it's Bob Patrick was his name. Bob Patrick once illustrated a welded firepot. Bob Patrick, doing this one-handed. There we go. Aha, wunderbar. Wunderbar. Come on. Open that bad boy up. View image. Okay. And once again, back to the screen share. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Okay. This is the Bob. Oh, I've got this PNP. It's the video review screen. How about that? Mark, I got you. Give me just 1 second. So this is a welded up Firepot, and these dimensions are taken from couple of different places. These dimensions are based on some of the coke and coal fire pots that are out there. This particular one is 3 inches deep, and this is a good rule of thumb. If you play with the dimensions a little bit, it's going to be a little bit different. This one, the bottom plate, if you see the bottom plate right here, on the ones that I built, it's a little bit bigger because I use a piece of 2-inch round plate as my clinker breaker. So you actually need a 3-inch hole down there, and I think that is, so that's a 3x4 right there. So that's a little small for what I use. But if you're going to be welding up a fire pot on that end of it, like I said, I would highly suggest, like I said, at the bottom there, you put a clinker breaker in there. This doesn't have a clinker breaker or a dump valve. And I don't know why you would go through all the effort of making one of these fire pots and not put a valve in the bottom of it, because that just makes the entire thing function so much better. So there are some good dimensions. Again, this is the Bob Patrick fire pot. You can look that up on Google, or you can screenshot that guy right there. So there you go. Good question. All right. Andrew McDonald, on the topic of ventilation. On the topic of ventilation and safety, do you think there are any shop hazards that frequently get overlooked? That is an excellent question. As far as things that get overlooked, well, the trick in all that is the fact that you're not going to have many overlooked, simply because if anything happens, you're going to find out about it really quick. For all the particular hubbub that goes on, blacksmithing's a pretty safe craft. right? I mean, of course, there's always the terror of a zip wheel or things like that, or you're going to get a burn. But, you know, I don't know of anybody that's ever, well, I take that back. Well, like I said, Papa Wilson was a smith, but he actually got fume fever. That was back in the anvil fire days. But for the most part, I can't think of anybody that actually died or was grievously injured from smithing. I mean, you would think that with power hammers and everything else, somebody had accidentally put a wiener in a power hammer and it would be a tragic ending, but I've never heard of anything like that. So it's pretty safe. Now, when you start getting into welding and torches and things like that, then you can get some issues. You know, or if you're, you know, running gas forges and you're using unlined forges in a confined area, silicosis of the lungs. I think there was an X-ray that went through Blacksmithing for Beginners not too long ago. Somebody was really not up to spec on the dangers of a forge, which for a long time I wasn't. You know, but it's I think the danger that's really going to poke its head up here in the next couple of years is going to be unlined gas forges, because of Forged in Fire, and there's just so many of them going out there. And, you know, and people are living in apartments and suburbs, and they don't have a lot of open space, and they're doing this in a confined area. I think you're going to see some real damages from there. But for the most part, there's not a lot that's overlooked. Now, when you start playing with acids and things like that, that's a different deal, but yeah. Okay. All right, I owe I think Mr. Mark a quick answer there. Okay. Yeah, hey, Mark, I saw your question earlier. Yeah, for this weekend class. Oh, by the way, we are teaching a weekend online class this weekend. If you're not familiar, we're going to be teaching the same class on both days. We're going to be doing a tong making class. If you've got some 3/4 round, I think that's what we're going to hopefully use. Maybe I have some square. I don't know what the hell I have out there. But we're going to be using 3/4 something to work with. If you don't have that exact size, you can always scale up or scale down. Class is going to run about 4 hours. We're going to start at 1 p.m. each day. If you want to sign up, go to trentontie.com and actually no, it's not up there. Actually, you need to look under. I need to put a link in there. All right, hang on. I'm thinking here. My brain's outrunning. It's been a hell of a day. My brain's outrunning my mouth, which is kind of a feat. Anyway, I'll post it in the description where you can sign up for the classes on that end of it. So, yeah. But whatever you want, Mark. Like I said, we're going to go through it. If you don't have the exact stuff, you can always scale it down. It won't be a problem. Mark J., do you have a favorite anvil brand, aesthetic, or shape? I've heard a lot about Hay Budden and Peter Wright from other people. So they're all the London pattern. You know, they're after 1840. The London pattern is kind of the one that took over. And like I said, it's a nice anvil. It's a classic American British type anvil. I'm not sure if I have a particular favorite as far as function, because they all do different things. But as far as the aesthetics, the Hay Buddens are an excellent anvil, but the Trenton anvils and the Arm and Hammer anvils, they usually have really sharply tapered heels and horns, and I mean, so it's really drawn out and kind of exaggerated, and I really kind of like that. It looks a little more fancy than just the chunky block stuff. Probably not as effective as an anvil, but just looks damn good to me. Good question. Alecos, Weiger's book talks about a hardy tool called an upsetting matrix. Does anybody ever use that? You know, I saw that in Weiger's book, you know, years ago when I had it, and I've never seen it work very well, to be honest with you. You know, the illustration where he had the particular cone on that end of it just doesn't work all that super well. Like I said, and this is the other problem. I had a comment that came across my drifting video today that really pissed me off. And it was basically the drift video that I did here recently was really geared toward the beginners and trying to think about things that beginners would have access to. And this guy came in and basically told me he would really like to like my videos. but he just couldn't. And then went into have a soliloquy about how he did it with all this different stock size that most beginners never have access to, and equipment that most of them don't have to. And he said, sure, it's just easy. You just drill a 4-inch hole all the way through a piece of 2.5-inch metal, and then you hammer it, and it's perfect. It was a mess. So yeah, just going to be one of those things where upsetting's not a great or easy thing to do. It was rarely a super important thing because they were using steel that was a lot thicker to start with, and so they were pulling down far more than they were upsetting, unless they were trying to upset for welds. That's the one exception that I'll say. All right. Jim Ramsey, as a wannabe, I just started to forge weld. What's the best way to tell if a weld is good? Been lucky so far 2 or 3 times. It seemed to have stuck, but not 100% sure. Jim, the fact of the matter is the best way to tell is that if it holds. When I forge weld, I usually come up to a light welding heat and tack. I'll come up to a heavier heat and work it. And even then, sometimes I'll do a 3rd heat just to kind of mash it all into place. At the end of the day, if the weld sticks and it doesn't fail, it worked. You're not going to have a situation where you can, hit it with an X-ray and tell. Just like with a lot of my fire pokers, the weld looks good. It doesn't bend off. It doesn't break. It's a good weld. Adder Whisper, is there something that could be used to make a neat sound effect for the transition screen? Let's see. Of course. How about that? Matt Wyeth, do you still need a clinker breaker with lump wood charcoal? Absolutely. I always try to have a breaker in there because if there's now with not really, it's not super necessary with charcoal because you don't have any of the ash or the clinker that's going to fall to the bottom. But especially when you're starting the fire, just having a way to basically work out a lot of that stuff at the bottom, it's handy. It's super handy. It lets you burn both fumes. So, yeah. Adam Kerr is here. Just going to mention fume fever. Leave the galvanized stuff alone. Again, that's what Pawpaw Wilson died of, was fume fever back in the day. He was one of the regulars there on Anvil Fire. Good fellow, lost him to something that was rather foolish. But there's been a lot of welders that's been welding on galvanized and get the stuff. So, yeah, it is not good stuff. All right. Anyone smell smoke? Trent's thinking, oh, buddy, let me tell you, it's been, like I said, it's been a day. It has been a day. Matthew Hoffman, will you be doing the basic equipment class again? Matthew, yes. The biggest thing right now is that I'm having to get some type of actual schedule in place, and that's a little more difficult than you would imagine. In fact, but I've been working, I've been doing my homework, trying to get a schedule up. And if you guys haven't seen the upgrades to the website, you need to go by and check that out. For a long time, guys, I'm still playing catch up with so much of the stuff that needs to be done. The website and the YouTube channel have been 2 ships passing in the night, forever and a day, and I finally got a lot of that solved. So let's see if I can go right here. You guys will like this a lot. Hang on. Get this over here. Okay. Go over here to screen share. I'm having to swap this crap around. Uno momento, por favor. There we go. So this has been the website forever and a day. But now we have a YouTube weekly schedule, all the videos that are through the website, and most importantly, of course, and guess what? What a great time to talk about how to support the live stream. Guys, this is now the official living. Like I say, if you have a couple extra bucks, please, for goodness sake, you can make a direct donation. There's a address in the link bar in the description. Of course, you can always become a Patreon, buy a book, all that kind of good stuff, or go to trentontide.com to figure out how you can help support the stream. How about that? Segway. But you got to see this. This is great. This is great. I thought this was hilarious. So when I was redoing this, I had a couple social media links for Facebook and Instagram, of course. And the guy that helps me with the website, he says you need another something in there. He says because just the two are throwing everything off. You need a third one. And I said, okay, I know exactly what to put in there. So social media links: Facebook, Instagram, and OnlyFans. Wait, it gets better. Watch this. Click on it. So anyway, that was my bit of fun. I thought that was great. And I put that up on my Patreon page that we had redone it. And of course, the first guy goes in. That's the first thing he clicks on is the OnlyFans account. So I thought that was good. Because whoever goes to that page is gonna click on it. That's, like I said, considering how terrible I look, no one should ever have to click on that button, but that is the first thing that they're going to click on. Yeah, exactly. That's my transition sound. That's good stuff. Okay. All right, let me get on back over here. If I go back to my chat, I have to close everything out. Son of a monkey. It's not in the chat. Come on, buddy. Open it up. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. Let me swap everything back over here. All right. Franken anvil. Yep. Franken anvil. That was a great anvil. Lauren after the chunky girls. Mark Goggin. Of course, you like the Trent anvils. They're good anvils, and it's awesome. Oh, by the way, I am in fact working on getting us some T-shirts. And if you guys have not seen this, like I said, I think I've told some of my Patreons, but I wanted to show you guys what we are dealing with. You'll get a kick out of this. This is pretty freaking awesome. So this is an old Trenton anvil advertisement, and we've got to have this kind of redone. Like I said, I think the copyrights run on this a long time ago. So we're actually going to get this set up for a T-shirt, and instead of Columbus Forged Iron, it's going to be Purgatory Ironworks. This is going to be the graphic for our first T-shirt. So we're working on that now, and I thought that was pretty damn cool. So, yes, indeed. But blam. Like I said, we got a lot going. And I got a lot going. It's just, like I said, it's got to get it all done. And I seem to be low on the totem pole here. Give me a moment. There we go. I knew something seemed weird. Okay. Now I can actually watch what I'm doing. All right. Wayne Morey. Trent, where would you suggest a noob getting metal to make knives? I know what metal you recommend. Wayne, there's several different places you can buy from. You can go to Jant Supply. Texas Knife Makers will carry it. The big steel house is going to be New Jersey Steel Baron. There's a couple of the online metal places that are just kind of out there. I don't really care for them. Like I said, they just... sometimes kind of odd, but like I said, but Jant's, Texas Knife Makers, and New Jersey Steel Baron should be able to get you some. Somebody who give me money. Somebody. Mark, thank you, buddy. Thank you very much for supporting the stream and for supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Okay, so again, guys, with the super chat, one of the reasons that I actually turned the super chat off on this stream. So if you want to make a donation, look in the description of the video, and there's some direct links in there. Super chat takes a whopping 30% of your donation for YouTube, and that's one of the reasons I didn't turn it on. Like I said, if you look in the description, there's a direct link for a donation through Streamlabs and all that kind of good stuff. So it still picks it up, it still goes through everything, but it just, like I said, YouTube doesn't get to take a 30% cut. So, yes, indeed. Okay. Alex Pittman, will there be a video on the clinker breaker and other parts of a coal forge? On the schedule, we actually have welding up an entire Firepot, which will include a clinker breaker. And guys, a clinker breaker on one of these forges is going to be something that is super easy. Let me bring the graphic back up. Back to the freaking internet. Bob Patrick. Not Bobo Patrick. Bob Patrick Firepot images. No, not videos. Bring it up. View image and go to the video review screen. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. All right. So basically, all that your clinker breaker is going to be in this. This is the bottom of the forge right here. This piece is usually got a hole cut in it. Usually, I have a 3-inch hole cut in it, and then I have a piece of 2-inch plate, a round circular disc. And if you look right here, what happens is I make a notch on this side and a notch on this side for a 3/8 rod to go all the way through. The 2-inch plate is welded to the top of that rod. That means so it's level with the bottom of the forge, and then you bend the rod down on one side, which actually keeps it flat and level. And that way it can rock, dump stuff off, but it won't spin over. If you just have a straight rod in there, gravity is going to do its thing. So that's why you've got to bend the front. It's that simple. A lot of people have tried to copy the cast iron version, which if you go buy a Firepot from anywhere like Centaur Forge or Pay Tool, is usually a cast iron triangular shaped kind of a ball that's on there. A lot of people try to duplicate that. There's no need. You just have a 2-inch round piece of plate, and that will do all that you need it to do. All that you need it to do. Transition. Okay. Nathan Hawkins is here. All right. Peg City Forge. Can I steal from a ball peen hammer be hardened? Can the steel from a ball peen hammer be hardened? I'm thinking make a tomahawk. I'm not sure if I need to insert a piece of carbon for the cutting edge. So most of your hammers are going to be a 1045 steel, which is a medium carbon, a lower to medium carbon steel. So it can be hardened. And if you're making a tomahawk to throw at trees, there's no problem there. You don't need a razor edge. But I mean, if you're in there for the practice, yes, it would normally be good to have a good, long-lasting chopping edge is going to be to bit that, even though it's 45 points of carbon. Mark Goggin, when the top hat is coming back. Oh, God. Again, that was my outfit for Thomasville Victorian Christmas. I was never steampunk or anything like that, although, of course, I do have an affection for the Victorian era. But, like I said, I look ridiculous in that thing. It's terrible. It's awful. I begged them not to make me wear that on national TV because I look like a dork. Oh, gracious. All right. Jason Chappell, are you offering live instruction or is it online classes only? Jason, it is all live. Like I said, no, this is not just like a pre-recorded deal. No, this is live. That's one of the reasons we're keeping the class size pretty small. So that when you have questions, I'm able to directly interact with the students. And again, it's for 4 hours. It's 4 hours for $20, and you get my attention for all that time. It's worth the money. I had a discussion with some of my Patreons, and we looked at the prices that some of the other knife makers charge for pre-recorded classes, and it's ridiculous. I mean, it's foolish. I mean, I wish I could be that expensive, but I don't know if I want to be. So no, this is a live class. This is not pre-recorded. I'll be right there working with everybody. So if you, like I say again, it'd be an awesome thing if you guys wanted to join in. Okay. Another merch idea, hot dog sticking halfway out the sliding glass door. Wayne Morey, where can I pre-order? I need a husky medium. Don't we both? Again, and guys, this is one thing that we ain't doing the pre-order crap. Like I said, I've had to kind of grit my teeth just to beg for money for tips and things of that nature. This pre-order crap. When I get the T-shirts, when I get the design done, and I've got a line on exactly how much they're going to cost, and I know exactly when they're going to be here, I may open it up, but not until then. Like I said, I'm glad to take people's money, but I want to make sure I got my ducks in a row because, like I said, that can go wrong a lot of ways, and I hate owing folks money. Dario Ferrerio. Hello, Trenton. Love you're live from Spain. Dario, thank you for being here. España. Celtic is here. Celtic, what's today's topic? There's really ain't one. This was an unscheduled Q&A, so I am running my mouth and answering questions. Hot dog and a sliding glass door. I buy that T-shirt and wear it constantly. That may be a thought for a T-shirt. I've got somebody that can illustrate something, but something that's not something that may be PG. Don't want everybody run around doing stuff like that. Mark Goggin, we need a new zombie apocalypse Trent video. You say that. It is definitely... So here's the thing. And I've had several people reach out and talk about YouTube shorts and whatnot. And I'm going to have to seriously rethink exactly the videos that we're putting out. Because the fact is I've got good content. There's no two ways about it. It's good content, but it's not getting in the algorithm. We are having very little growth, very slow growth when it comes to actually memberships and views and things like that. And it's the fun videos like the Blacksmith's Third Hand, like the 9/11. That was a fun video. It was a rant video. But it's the videos like that that really get the eyeballs. And so one of the things I'm going to have to do in this film schedule is to start producing some stuff that is more entertaining on that end. Thank you, Evie. Appreciate it, man. Is to do a little bit more fun stuff. And I've got a couple of ideas. But I'll tell you, it's really tough to come up with these fun videos to film them because you really need help to do that. If I'm going to be stupid in front of the camera, I need somebody holding the camera. It's hard to do it by myself. So, I know I'm an endless bucket of fun, but it's a mess. But yeah, we do need some more of those videos. There's no two ways about it. So... Green Bastardo. Trent, when tempering, I've read different processes. Typically, it's either 400 at an hour, let it cool, and do it again. The other method is simply 2-hour heat at 400. So, Green, there is a difference, and here's the problem. So, the fact that you can actually say that just goes to show how much bad info there is out there. And what I mean, though, is I am certain that those instructions may work well for something. The problem is that's like... How do you change the carburetor? And if you have an instructions to change the carburetor, well, for what car? That's the big thing here, is the fact that what's going on is that it depends entirely on the steel. Now, there are thermal cycles that you do that you put most all of your steels through as far as normalizing, annealing, and things like that. But... as far as the actual process and the temperature, it's going to be specific to each type of steel. So the first question you need to answer is what kind of steel are you trying to harden and temper? That's job one. And from there, you can actually go to the scientific book and figure out exactly what process you need to use. Mark, God, you look great in that thing, especially in the hammer. Adarig, what kind of ritual do I need to do to get my forge set up properly, and do I need to face magnetic north? No, God, hopefully not at all. But like I said, there's so many that want to make it that way. There's no two ways about it. Mark Bloss, I love your idea of talking about old Smiths. Keep it up. Very original. That's going to be a regular thing. In fact, today's Wednesday. Friday... we actually have a video that was suggested by one of our viewers, and it's about Damascus gun barrels, and that's going to be at 1 o'clock on Friday. So you guys definitely be around for that. But that's absolutely going to be a common thing that's going on. That's just too cool to do. So, all right. Macultrification. Any suggestions on junkyards in South Georgia look for anvil-shaped objects? The only junkyards you're really going to run across that are able to be looked for is going to be, there's not a lot in South Georgia. You've got Schnitzer, which is in Dothan and Albany, but neither of them, unless you can like bribe somebody. Schnitzer in Albany probably has some stuff, but you got to convince somebody to let you go look. Dixie Station is here. Veteran Arrow, I did enjoy the fireworks pranks videos. Yes, indeed. John Brinsma. Good evening, Sir Trenton. I've been making knives for a while now and still not happy with them. Can you give me any pointers on getting handles even? Johan, excuse me. So, Johan, again, need some more information. Or what type of knife are you doing? Are you doing a through tang? Are you doing scales? Need to know what kind of knife you're making. Mark got 58 views and only 7 likes. Come on, people, boost the video. Listen to Mr. Mark. Please boost the video. Wayne Morey, what book gives you the tempering information? There's a couple out there, and there are some good references online. You can, once you know what steel that you have, you can do a Google search on that, and there's a lot of stuff there. Oh, God knows, Mark Blosser. Mark, thank you, man. So I have to make a quick shout out. Mark Blosser, who is still giving money on this end. Mr. Blosser is the one that is responsible for the awesome television that we have in the shop that has allowed me to do the classes and actually see everybody when I'm doing the live streams from the shop. So everybody needs to put lips firmly on the hind end of Mr. Blosser, who continues with his support. Sir, thank you very, very much. All right. Okay. Celtic Army, 1 p.m. Georgia time for the Friday video. Yes, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is now actually chiseled. Like I said, we've got it scheduled all month. So Fridays at 1 p.m. Is going to be our deal. So boost harder, people. Send thoughts and prayers. Think about your crystals. Matt Wyeth, I've got an old, small, straight peen hammer that I'm looking at turning into a punch. Is this a good idea? Actually, it's not terrible, but there's a way easier way to do that. If you'll go down to your local pawn shop, they will have buckets of old files and punches. Like I said, a center punch is a very common tool that's in a lot of these old tooling. So if you go down to a local pawn shop, you will find plenty of steel that you can use. The only problem with using a ball peen, it's got a hole in the middle of it, so that limits just how much material that you can have. It's not going to be good. However, again, if you go find an actual punch, it's going to be a medium carbon steel. It's already a punch, and then you just shape it into what you need. But if you're using it as a set tool, if you're using it as a set punch as opposed to a handle punch, absolutely, it should work just fine. Provo Pirate, my new kitten loves to watch you, Trenton, sitting here 2 inches from the screen. It has been all stream. Actually, mine, like I said, that stray that we found just came back from being fixed, so I love my kitties. I guess I'll be taking my lunch, one every Friday. Rock Liquors, how do you deal with customers asking for time-consuming special projects, especially when they don't want to spend the money to compensate the time I would spend on more profitable projects? Actually, Veteran's right. You tell them no, but it's tough. Now, here's the thing, and for a lot of you, and this is where there's a real issue in the difference between a professional and a hobbyist. There's a lot of, all right, so if you're a hobbyist, you're going to have to be okay with the fact that most of us have done this because it's cool. And we find it cool, but the best thing about it is that everybody else finds it cool, and we are made cool by it, because there's none of us that made something awesome and then did, and like I said, picked it up, and then just, we just walk by people and casually try to show it off and act like we're uninterested. Oh, this thing, did I make it? Oh, this little thing. Look, the craft is awesome. The stuff that we make is awesome, and we should be proud of it. And some of us who are complete narcissists thrive off of that particular attention and that admiration. That's part of why we do this. We're not out there. If blacksmithing right now was just to go out and fix metal things, you'd never have to see us, but we're not doing that. Blacksmithing now is a social deal. We're doing it with friends. It's a hobby deal. It's golf, except it's way cooler than golf. So, but what happens is that, yes, everybody thinks it's real cool, but most people that think it's super cool also happen to be stupid, okay? They have no idea whatsoever what it takes to make it. I will never forget. I was at the Georgia Renaissance Festival. It's early April. And I did my little show, my presentation, and guy comes up, classic Atlanta, clearly an anime fan, that type of white dude, right? Can you make swords? Well, yes, sir, I can. Oh, and he takes his wallet out, right? And he goes and he pulls out this piece of paper and unfolds it. So apparently he drew a sword like when he was in high school, clearly influenced by anime. I've been carrying this design in my wallet all these years. I really want this made. I'm like, and you don't ever, now let me tell you something. Don't ever assume how much money somebody has. Even if they're dressed like crap, don't assume how much money they have. Now you can certainly play the odds, but understand that some of the wealthiest people wear crappy sneakers, okay? So I'm always cognizant of that. And so he says, what would something like this cost? And this was a super complicated piece, right? I said, well, it's probably going to start around $2,000 or $3,000. The dollars? And I had to, every bone in my body had to resist the urge to say no, milk bones, but I withheld the impulse. But right there, I instantly understand this guy has no idea what he wants. It has no concept of the work that goes into this piece. No concept whatsoever. So literally, he's been looking at Bud K and sees like a reproduction Warcraft sword for $200 and thinks that's the price range that he's going to be in. It's not these folks' fault. They don't mean to insult you, but they can harm you, because if you open your mouth and say, "Oh yeah, I'll do that for $200," you have just screwed yourself. So that's the long answer. Short answer is you have to say no, or if you say, well, and I'm going to tell you, you have no idea at this point, and guys, understand, this is from the professional end of it. Why I am curt when it comes to this stuff is because the first thing that I ask somebody is, what is your budget? Okay? That's the first question. I do not let them get into describing it. I don't let them talk about, what the history behind, where it came from, how it makes them feel. What is your budget? Okay? And if they look at you and they go, huh? I already know it's a done deal. I have no interest in doing it because they don't have the money for it. Now, there have been times, okay? There have been times where I've asked that question and the guy said, well, he says, what's a reasonable price? And I said, it's probably going to be in the couple $1,000s easily, when we get into the details. And at that point, I've had a thought, well, that's kind of what I figured. Can we move forward and figure it out? Sure. Now, here's the second thing you need to know. This is where a design fee comes in, okay? And there was one guy that I hated. Boy, he was an asshole. I hated him. But he had a great way of weeding things out. If you wanted to talk to him about a custom project, you handed him $100. Now that wasn't a down payment. No. If you wanted to engage him about making something custom, it was $100 to have him consult with you to make it. That was the fee. Now here's the deal. If the project that you want done by a custom smith is too expensive to invest $100 for a consultancy fee, it's not one that you want to do to start with. So even though this guy was a complete jackass, that is a great way to weed out problem people and people who don't know that they're a problem, okay? I've had so many particular housewives say, I'd like to make this really nice bottle tree. You reckon you can do it for $60 or $70? Nope. It better be a divorced housewife. She better be very hot, no kids, and still have a lot of money if there's going to be a bottle tree done for $70. If you know what I mean. At that point, it's more of an investment on my end than actually getting paid, right? Okay. So that's the deal. So you just simply have to say no. Or, okay, it's $100 consultancy fee. I'll be glad that buys you a drawing and everything else. They go, oh, that's too much. Well, thank you. Thank you for playing. All right. I know that was an expanded discussion, but that's a big one. You need to know that. Guess Vanderwall, what time zone you're in? Eastern Standard Time is the time zone that I am in. All right, Jason Chappell. Flea market's also great for filing tooling in old toolboxes. Yes, they are. Do they have flea markets in Europe? Is that the same? Do we have the same term? Is anybody ever here from Europe? Who was that? Dario. Do you know what a flea market is? Celtic, thank you for being here, buddy. Don O'Nano, listening good, surprise with Q&A. Yep. Mags is here. I'm a bit lonely bastard since one spring come I can assemble my shop. Just going to be making cool stuff like hinges for my barn door and all kinds of other cool stuff for me. Something for sale, perhaps. And that's another thing. Hinges are a very difficult thing to make, and they command a good price. If I do a hinge, an actual functioning hinge, it starts at $75. Starts at $75. Mr. David is here. They wanted a Damascus 200 layer sword, some type of that kind of white dude, ended up making him a mild steel decorative sword. Yeah. All right, flea marks are a thing here. All right, so but the term is universal. I just again, I'd never heard flea market in French, right? Heading out. Fiance wants to watch a video. Watch post later. See you, Bart. The Humane Society. That's terrible. If you find yourself the free hour, check out the Colonial Gunsmith. It's Colonial Gunsmith. That's not Williamsburg, is it? I know a couple of the guys. Actually, one of the guys that competed on Master of Arms actually worked in Colonial Williamsburg. Really, so it translate. Kerputori. How about that? All right. Le Marquet du Flea. Le Marquet du Flea. That's great. That's really good. That's really good. Okay, cool. So yeah, the business side of blacksmithing, is incredibly removed from the hobby side of things, and there's a weird effect that I have seen oftentimes. So you're let's say you're going to a local Dixie. Thank you, man. Dixie offered to do me a tattoo, but I have my tender flesh is unmarked. I know if I put something on there, it would be stupid. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. By the way, like I said, everybody, speaking of which, anybody that is looking for hammers, like I said, we've actually got fresh steel coming in hopefully this week. So I've got 2 hammers I owe folks. And if you're waiting on a hammer, like I said, as soon as I get the steel in, hopefully by the middle of next week, all hammers will be out and we should have some fresh ones for sale. Don O, did you see the ad for the Havana Festival in PA this fall? Yes, I did. In fact, I talked to a gentleman named Mr. Albert, who's actually in charge of some of their social media. Again, like I said, it's with the pandemic in there, I think they kind of jumped the gun a little bit. But again, like I said, I've probably got a couple of videos to come out about Havana here shortly, so I'm sure they're not happy with me. But But yeah. But anyway, as far as the whole blacksmithing business thing, it's a completely different world. Everybody is super awesome to make a couple S hooks and some leaves and to sell a few and to make a bit of money. It's a really good thing. But remember, you've got like 20 family members that would buy a rock if you glued an eyeball to it. So once those burn off, it becomes a different ball game. There's a couple things you can do to make a little bit of money on the side, but if you're going to do business, that's a whole different deal. And the business of going to festivals is really a separate monkey in itself. There's a lot to learn on that end. Most people dabble, and there's no problem with that. But boy, the number of people that said, "Hey, I'm going to do this full time," that the bodies of those people laying around is pretty thick. Pretty thick. Vloeienmarkt in Dutch. Vigranier. Vloeienmarkt. These words are strange. Where's my German? I got German in here. What is it in German? Again, I always love the German version of words. Kettenkrad, Panzerkampfwagen. Est mein Panzerabwehrkanone. Well, I'm sure there's, like I said, there's a, market, they're general markets, junk markets, so. In German, it's angry. the angry flea market. Provo, hammer eye drift. How much for one that matches standard blacksmith's handle? That's a damn good question, Provo, because I don't know what a standard hammer is. There's actually a lot of different types of hammer handles. So that's one of the reasons that we made our own drift and basically carve all the handles to match. Drifts are a monkey. Like I said, normally, and Jeff McCready, if you guys don't know who Jeff McCready is, Jeff McCready is a guy that made a lot of hammers. He actually helped me get my hammer started. Awesome dude. Jeff actually makes his drifts by taking a piece of round stock, putting a kiss block that's usually about 1/8 of an inch shorter than the stock, and running it through so it makes two flats and kind of has an oval. And I think that's how he does a lot of his, but I don't know if there is a standard piece like that. Das Bitten Bug Sale. The Bitten Bug Sale. God, that's terrible. It's awesome. But Provo, usually, like I say, if you want one of those, and I think Jeff said that if you take a piece of 1-inch stock and do it that way, that is close to. He's actually can buy standard handles on that end, but there's actually 3 or 4 different sizes on there, so I have to find out what it is. So. Dixie Station got his hammer. I'm so glad it got up there. Yes, indeed. All right, well, guys. Well, like I said, we have, believe it or not, we have already burned up an entire hour with this stuff. Like I said, again, I wanted to sprinkle this in. Like I said, it's been a trying day, and I always enjoy doing these things with you guys. It gives me a little bit of social time, which I don't have, and so it's a good deal. It's a good deal. So. Just wanted to thank you all. Wait, that you're talking to Barry Alex Pittman. Okay. Barry Ironwood, Trent, do you ever go to Quad State in Ohio? I have been actually commanded to go to Quad State. Adlai Stein is up there, and I hope to go as soon as this plague gets out of here. But like I said, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Depends a bunch on the plague. I've still got some loved ones that are vulnerable. And our isolation down here has saved a lot of them. So, yeah. Dono, your hammers, hand-forged power hammer. Dono, I'm in business, therefore I have a power hammer. but they are on the website trentontie.com. Actually, the first versions, we're about to update a lot of that because we've made some new dies. Most of ours are 4140, except this next batch is going to be 1045, and even sometimes we do some out of 52-100. So, yep. So, anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. For all of you who donated on the stream, thank you very, very much. Again, like I said, I feel bad. Like I said, Mark gave me a TV. Every time Mark makes another donation, I kind of cringe. Just like, man, thank you. I feel like I'm going to have to end up like dressing up nice and showing up and cooking him dinner. So, but anyway, guys, thank you. Be safe out there. Keep your heads together. And I'll see you guys a bit later.